Hello, graphic design students. This is Mr. Carrera. I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving break. Got to spend a lot of time with family, eat a lot of food. We're back to reality and going to get working on this next project. So, this is a basic comic strip that we're going to be doing. This should take you a couple class periods and should engulf a lot of the different techniques that you've been doing over this last several weeks in the semester. You'll be using the pen tool, be using a lot of the other tools that we've been using, and what we're going to be focusing on today in this video is doing some of the elements that are needed for this project and not necessarily go over step by step what you need to do in order to complete the project. So I just want to focus on some of the things that you don't already know to move right along and get you guys going. So first thing you want to do is we want to open up a new project. So let's go to new. Let's label it correctly. Carrera Steve 5.0 comic strip. And we're going to set our canvas to inches. So we're going to go 8 by 3 and the resolution is going to be 200. We're going to do this in CMYK and push OK. Alright, so first thing we got to do is create our comic book panel. It's basically the panel for a comic strip, and this canvas is going to be broken up into 4 different tiles that you're going to be able to use for your comic strip. So first thing we want to do is we want to select our rectangular marquee tool, and we're going to create a border within this canvas. So I'm just going to click and drag, and you see a box there on in the middle of my canvas. So I want to first color this into a color that you're probably going to use throughout your comic book strip. You can change it later if you want, but I just want to stick with one color, and it'll just be a theme throughout my comic strip. Alright, so I'm going to create a new layer, and then I'm going to go to my paint bucket tool, and I'm going to change the color to gray, and then I'm just going to fill in that box there. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is you want to create a stroke around this box. Okay, that will give it sort of the beginning of that comic book look that you're going to see. So what I want to do is I want to go to edit and stroke. Okay, I'm going to go 5 pixels, and I'm going to change the color to black, and I'm going to make the location inside of the box. Okay, I'm going to push OK, and there is the border around my comic strip. Okay, so kind of give you that comic book feel in the beginning. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to start separating the canvas into different panels. Alright, so I'm going to again use my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to just eyeball this. I'm not going to measure it all the way. If you want, you can show your rulers, Command R, so that you can gauge a little bit more. Maybe you want to separate this up into every 2 inches. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to create a small box there, not too thick, okay, but just enough to where I could separate these panels. So what I want to do is I want to create a new layer and label this one gutter, which is the term for the separation, and I want to fill this with white. Okay, so I want to come down here, click on the default foreground background color, make white on top, and then I'm going to push Option Delete, and that's going to flood that rectangle with white. Okay, so now I want to create a border around that. So I'm going to go to Edit, Stroke. I'm going to change this color to black. I'm going to keep it inside 5 pixels, push OK, and there is my first gutter. Okay, so we see that this area right here is not what we want. We do not want this gutter to be peering out like that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to zoom in. Okay, and again, of course, you can use Command plus to do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a rectangle around that little edge that pops out. Okay, and I'm just going to push delete. And that's it. Okay, I'm going to come down here, do the same thing over here. Okay, delete. All right, so now you have your first gutter. Okay, your first panel for your comic strip. All right, now continuing on, I want to create a new layer and do the same thing again. Okay, so just creating a rectangle there. So what I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to actually stop the video and make your panels for your comic strip. All right, and then just come back to the video and we'll move on to the next step.